Hi everyone. This week we'll talk about the initial stage of group counseling. Remember last week we had mentioned about forming a group, developing a proposal, how to screen and recruit our members, how to announce the group counseling process. And now we are ready for starting the group counseling, and assume that we are in the initial stage of your group, and this stage and the following stages will have some specific characteristics. To start with initial stage, its aim is to teach members about how groups function. Think that this is the first day of group counseling. You as a leader and the group members came together, and maybe you have done a preliminary short meeting with your members, maybe you didn't, and this is the first time all of the group came together. Okay, so you should help your clients, the group members, get acquainted with the group counseling process. And since all of the theories and techniques posited that we want to have a cohesive and productive group, at the initial stage, we should start forming this cohesive, productive, and trustful group, okay? Cohesive and productive group means that members involved in exploring themselves, giving and receiving honest and appropriate feedback. This also involves your group members being present in the group. Unless they are present, they cannot listen to the other group members, they cannot involve themselves in the group counseling process, they cannot get or give any feedback to the group members. So, leaders could start orienting members during preliminary sessions, which are the initial ones, but teaching members to involve themselves as active participants and basis of group process goes on in initial phase of the group as well as later stages whenever necessary. So you need to update the group members with the initial stage rules or initial stage dynamics again as you proceed in the sessions. There may be such needs as well. So as a leader, you need to be catching up where the group in terms of the stages of group counseling throughout all the processes, because sometimes group process, sometimes they go back, so you should always be aware of the stages of the group. And our members are at the key point in the initial stages, okay? So there are some points that you need to consider to foster your members' active participation in the process. But as it's written here, we don't give these as a lecture in the group counseling process in the first or second or third session, because these mainly include initial stages. And these are the written formulas from the perspective of a leader, but we summarize them, we intend them to the members in the initial stages, okay? So, first one is learning to help establish trust. So, as a member, don't wait other members to take the first risk of trust. You can contribute to create trusting climate. You can even do it by revealing your lack of trust. So, I am saying this as a leader, okay? This is my point of view, but I'm not directly saying this to the members, but I can say that, yes, I know that you may be lacking some trust in the group in the first sessions. We will get acquainted to each other, we will know each other, you will know each other, and you will know me, I will know you in a group counseling process. So your having lack of trust is even very important. So you can start by sharing this experience as well. you should soften it, okay? You don't just say these one by one, step by step. And secondly, what we expect from group members is not to hold themselves back, not to hold their feelings back if they experience them over and over. For example, if they are feeling anger, boredom, disappointment, we ask them to express these persistent, repeating feelings in the group. And what we say to our clients is to be aware of misusing jargon. We tell them to use plain language. When members learn new language, for example, I can relate to you, I want to get closer to my feelings, they tend to remove themselves from direct experience. Therefore, ask your members to define or make simple what they mean by relating to someone or contacting with my feeling. Okay, so we can ask them to clarify what they've been saying. We help members not to use vague language. We help them clarify what they meant. We ask them to use I language instead of people, everybody here. It will help the members to own their feelings. And fourthly, we ask them to decide for themselves how much to disclose. Although self-disclosure is an important tool in the group process, it is up to each member to decide how much and what aspects of their life to disclosure. Because biz arkadaşlar zaten meraklanamayız. Yani böyle bir merakla yönelmiyoruz terapide. Terapist meraklı olmaz aslında bakarsanız. Merak eden olmaz çünkü o bir yandan sonra ortam gossip ortamına döner. Ama fark etmeden aslında memberler arasında da merak uyandıracak. Hani üyeler arasında da merak uyandıracak başka üyeler olacak. Ve kişinin için çok işlevsel olmayan bir şeyi grup üyeleri ya da terapist sadece kendi merakını karşılamak amacıyla açıklamasını talep edemez. Kişi, grup üyesi ne kadar şeyi kendiyle ilgili paylaşacağını ve hangi oranlarda paylaşacağını kendi karar verir. Bu önemli. Çünkü göreceksiniz birileri diğerini merak edecek. Ama bu konuda ne düşünüyorsun? Hani gruptaki memberler arasında da bir etkileşim olacağı için bir de bazen dediğim gibi liderin kendi merakına yenik düşme ihtimali olabilir. Buna da çok dikkat etmek gerekiyor. Okay, it's not realistic to think the more self-disclosure, the better. So you shouldn't ask people to feel psychological naked. The most useful kind of self-disclosure is unrehearsed. It expresses present concerns. For example, if a member opens up his or her fear of how other people receive what she or he reveals, the other members will get a more accurate picture of this member's lack of participation, and that's enough. To go on, we say to our members, be an active participant, not an observer. Sometimes some members stay as observer and do not tend to actively involve in the group, as most of you change in your participation to the class, right? Some of you just turn off your computers, your cams, and you become an observer or listener. But some of you participate, attend, and I feel that they are present there with me. And one way of showing this attitude is by saying like this: I'm not a talkative person. It's hard for me to formulate my thoughts. Okay, we ask the clients, the group members, to express these feelings to be understood in terms of their less participation. And I can't express myself well, therefore I don't say much in the group, but only listen and learn by observing. And although it's true that members can learn by observing others, this way of being limits themselves. Okay? If they do not contribute, others will never know them, and others can feel cheated and angry at being the object of observation. Some other members keep themselves passively by saying like, I have no real problems in my life at this time, so I don't contribute to the group. But this also smells like resistance. You should be careful. And as group leaders, you need to teach these members to share their reactions to their experience in the group, as well as to let others know how they are being affected. If we are a group, everybody should share equal pie to contribute. Otherwise, yes, for example, if some of you turns off your cam and sleep there, the other ones who are participating may feel themselves cheated. They are there, let's say, for attendance, but you are you seem there as being attending, but actually you are not there. Then the ones who are participating may feel themselves cheated. Okay, the same experiences. And the sixth one is expecting some disruption in members' life. As a result of group experience, participants tend to think that people in their life will be both ready and willing to make significant changes. But this is not always true. They may be shocked to discover that others in their lives were okay with the way they were. Şimdi arkadaşlar, terapilerdeki en can alıcı nokta şudur ve hep check etmemiz lazım. Bireysel danışmanlıkta da grup danışmanlığında da. Şimdi hepimiz bir ilişki sisteminin içindeyiz. Düşünün ki ailenizle yaşıyorsunuz ve temel ilişki nesneleriniz onlar. Ya da evlisiniz, kocanız var. Ya da sevgiliniz var, birlikte yaşıyorsunuz ya da ayrı yaşıyorsunuz, neyse. Yani hep ilişkide olduğumuz, kontakta olduğumuz birileri var bu hayatta. Pardon. Ve bu ilişki dinamikleri içerisinde herhangi bir kişi terapi almaya başlıyorsa ne oluyor o kişinin için? Hayatında bir şeyler değişmeden, dönüşmeden, inanılmaz direnmesi lazım ki değişmeden, dönüşmeden kalsın. Ki terapiye başladıysa bir şeyin değişip dönüşmesini bekliyor demektir. Şimdi haliyle şöyle düşünün. Bu benim, bu da diğer kişi, ilişkide olduğum. Şöyle olduğumuzu düşünün. Makas gibi. Makasın iki ucu gibi. Ama şimdi ben terapi aldım. Yolum değişmeye başladı ve açılıyorum. Ne oluyor? Makas açılıyor. Şimdi ilişkide olduğum kişiler ya da kişilerle aramdaki makas açılırsa onlar benim yeni değişmekte olduğum halden pek memnun olmayabilirler. Fark ederek fark etmeyerek değişiyor olduğum için bana kızabilirler. Buna üzülüp tepki verebilirler. O yüzden bu kısım önemli. Ben mutlaka danışanlarımı grupta da bireyselde de hep check ederim. Atıyorum, evli bir kadın danışanım var. Eşiniz bu konuda ne diyor derim. Ya da tam tersi. Eşiniz sizde bir değişiklik görüyor mu? Herhangi bir geri bildirimde bulunuyor mu? Siz nasıl hissediyorsunuz? Çünkü eğer bireysel düzlemde kendini değiştirmeye gelen biri varsa ve makas açılıyorsa o zaman bir tarafıyla hayatındaki değişikliği toparlamaya çalışırken bu sefer ilişkisel problemler çıkma ihtimali doğabilir. Bunlar hep ihtimal ama olabilir. O yüzden hep oraları gözetmemiz gerekiyor. So leaders should give warnings that their involvement may complicate their outside life for a time. Okay, you should inform. Okay, we say to our clients, realize that you don't have to be sick to benefit from a group. Some people may be shy away from counseling because groups are for only people with severe emotional problems. But you already learned that there are several types of groups, and we don't always work with psychopathologies, personality disorders, but even people normally functioning may help some support in this life, and we accompany them in their journey. Hence, they don't need to be sick to get help or to be involved in such a process. And to go on, we expect them to discover positive aspects of themselves. And a common fear about therapy is that one will discover how unlovable, how empty, how hopeless, and how powerless one is. But people begin to realize that they are lovable after a while. And realizing and working through the painful experiences, people start seeing their positive and creative aspects. Listening closely and discriminately, group members should listen carefully to what other members say about them, neither accepting all of them nor rejecting it outright. Should listen carefully and decide what does and does not apply to them. Before responding, ask member to quiet down, think it and think how it is affecting them. Şimdi arkadaşlar tüm bunlar hani genel akışı kaçırmayın diye arada da söylüyorum. Bizim grup üyelerinden beklediklerimiz. Tamam mı? Bunları işte uygun başta belirttiğim uygun dillerle onları ifade ediyoruz. Initial stage dediğimiz birinci stage'de. Ama yine 12 seanslık bir grup danışmanlığında genelde ilk 2-3 seans initial stage'dir. Yani birinci seansta söyledik bitti değil, gerektiğinde hatırlatırız. Ve en başta söylediğim gibi ara ara atıyorum 6. 7. seansta da initial stage'e dönük hatırlatmalar yapmam gerekebilir. Grubun dinamiği farklı. Ama ne yapıyorum? Forming a group yaptım, initial yaptım, transition, working and termination stage'lerim olacak. Bunlar böyle clear cut, stage based, developmental stage'ler gibi değil, akışkan. Ama şöyle düşünebilirsiniz. Yani dediğim gibi 12 seanslık, 13 seanslık, 14 seanslık bir grup danışmanlığı için ilk 2-3 seans initial stage diye geçebilir. Ama bunu tabii koklayacaksın havayı. Öyle bir grupta çalışıyorsundur ki initial stage'de kuralları söyledin, guideline'ları belirledin, memberlardan beklentilerini söyledin. İkinci seansa grupta öyle bir cohesion, trust oluşur ki pat diye transition'ı görmeden bir working stage'e giriverirsin. Belli olmaz. Ama hep koklayacaksın havayı. Working stage'e gelir 2-3 seansı o gazla çalışır. Sonra birden direnç çıkmaya başlar. Ne olur o? Bir transition'a geri dönme. Bunları öğreneceksiniz. O yüzden böyle geçişkendir. Tüm bunlarda da birbirimizden geri bildirim alma, verme, ondan sonra kendimizle ilgili keşifleri yapma hep bir sindirim gerekir. Hep bir zaman gerektirir. Bunları hep böyle danışanlarımıza, grup üyelerine söylüyor olacağız. Another important point to consider for our members is to pay attention to consistent feedback. If a group member gets similar feedback from the group members similarly and persistently, then the group member should give some value to the content of that message. That messages, that feedback should be saying something. And don't categorize yourself means during the initial stage, members tend to present themselves to the others in terms of a role, one that they dislike, but at the same time appear to cling to that role. For example, the group mother, storyteller, compulsive one, etc. The important thing here is not to pin labels on themselves and not to fulfill the expectation and further convince members that they are what they fear. You should catch it. In the initial sessions, if someone tries to categorize him or herself, you should try to capture what the meaning beyond that categorization is. Okay? And mostly we don't want such pins, such labelings. Yes, group characteristics at the initial stage. Let's go on with this. The central process during the early stage of a group is orientation and exploration. These are the basic characteristics of initial stage. So, members are getting to know each other. They learn how the group functions. They learn what things are expected from them. And they develop spoken and unspoken norms that make clear how the members behave, explore their feelings about the group, clarify their expectations, identify personal goals, and determine whether this group is a safe place. These are all explored. And during this first stage, or first stages, there are certain issues that members experience. Firstly, of course, they are coming to a group whom they don't know. And they will reveal something about themselves, maybe the first time in their lives. Hence, it's inevitable that they have some concerns. So here, participants are not very clear about what they want to get out of a group experience. They are uncertain about group norms and accepted behaviors. Therefore, the following behaviors could be seen in the group. The first one is silence. Everyone can stop speaking. They must sit silent. Okay, here comes the point how you are at dealing with silence. Are you able to stay at silence? Most of my observations based on both your friends' group counseling practices and individual counseling practices, most of you are not able to stay silent with your client or with the group members. You are trying to feel the moment. No, you can stay silent. If there is silence, okay, there is silence. I respect it. But of course, not 15 minutes silence. I can stay. Silence is, I will give the message that silence is accepted in this group. Okay? And some will be impatient to get things moving. They will be very anxious and enthusiastic. They will say, okay, let's move, let's do it, let's achieve it and finish it. But everything does not go that much fast. Okay? So how about you as a leader? Are you patient enough to wait? Okay, these are exploration points. And sometimes they may complain about ambiguity. Why don't we start? What are we supposed to do? Maybe you will stay silent and one member will say, why don't you speak? Why don't we start? Okay? And if someone volunteers to discuss his or her problem, the rest just jumps in to suggest solutions rather than encouraging the person fully explore a struggle. But we generally, of course, it is based on our theoretical approach. We don't want suggestions, especially in the initial stages. We just acceptance. We just want acceptance, trust, cohesion. Okay? Giving suggestions may disrupt egalitarian environment of the group therapy. And conflict and anger may eventually surface. Some complain about the lack of direction, some are bored for social chat, and some are resentful that a few are doing all the work. Okay, so some may not like your approach. Some will like. Some of them will not like each other. Okay, and if there is conflict and anger, then they will be managed. Regardless of what is triggering any intense feelings, it is crucial that the leader be sensitive to these reactions and encourage members to express them openly. All are accepted in the group. You can express them. If the leader becomes defensive or cuts off the exploration of feelings that are expressed, a norm is being established that only certain feelings are acceptable, and we don't want this. If someone reveals anger, then I will stay there and I will reflect. Okay, I feel that you are feeling angry because I guess you want to start. You are so too much enthusiastic to start as much as early, but I'm trying to balance all of your wills to start working. So I will ask you to be a bit patient, but I really understand your anger. Okay, I will reflect. Otherwise, it will lead to resistance, or some of your group members will stop expressing their feelings. Okay, initial resistance. Welcome to resistance part. Oh, it's inevitable. It's difficult. But if you take it, if you feel the resistance, sometimes because you may not feel, then it's dangerous. But if you feel that there is something resistance, then you are lucky. Then you are at the good point. During the initial phase of a group, the members appear rather hesitant to get involved. This is understandable. There could be different reasons underlying this hesitation. Participants may be suspicious of the group leader. They may doubt that counseling groups may have real value in helping them solve their problems. Participants' cultural values may block their sharing of their personal problems. All are acceptable and understandable. Regardless of the reasons, some initial resistance is to be expected in the early stage, even people are eager to join in. Okay? because resistance often arises from fearful expectations. Identifying and discussing these fears at the early stage will benefit the whole group. They are afraid. They have come there, but it's not an easy thing to be a part of a group. So they feel fear. So in order to be able to cope with that fear, they show resistance to tell something about them, to disclose something. So it's so understandable, it's so humane. And the following are some common fears that participants identify. First of all, will I be accepted or rejected here? Can I really say what I feel? How does this group differ from my interactions in daily situations? I'm afraid that others will judge me. Am I like other people in here? Will I be pressured and pushed to perform here? I'm afraid I'll look stupid. Will I be able to take risks here? Will I tell too much about myself? And I fear being heard. What if I'm asked to do something I don't want to do? These are very real, understandable concerns. And one of the concerns is how the leader will approach. They don't know you either. So, and at that point, leader begins by encouraging the members to share and explore them. The leader could ask the members to get into smaller groups, which is a good point if there is initial resistance in the group, to share and come back to the whole group. By this way, in small groups, maybe the group members may feel safer and working. Yes, it's an excellent icebreaker and it may look like less frightening. And if the group members' experiences are taken seriously with respect and acceptance, positive or negative, the members will open at deeper level. And the leader encourages members to explore and deal with their feelings. Okay, hidden agendas is an important point to consider. A hidden agenda is an issue that affects the way the group is progressing, but it's not openly discussed. This is called a form of resistance as well. And the leader's responsibility is to encourage the member or members to discuss it. Otherwise, common set of features emerge, such as low trust, hostility, unwilling to take risks, people are guarded. For example, a group of adolescents displayed a great unwillingness to talk. The hidden agenda was the concern that over rumors that some gossiping was taking place. The members who had concern over confidentiality were reluctant to express their feelings because of a fear that others might condemn them for their lack of trust. Şimdi bu hidden agenda'da böyle yine koklayacağımız bir şey. Bakıyorsunuz birinci seansı geçirdiniz, ikinci seans geldi, grup bir değişik. Birinci seansta aslında cohesion ve trust'ı oluşturmak için bayağı yol almıştınız. Grupta kaynaşmış gözüküyordu. Geldiniz ikinci seansa herkeste bir gerginlik, böyle bir tedirginlik. Ne oluyoruz diyorsun böyle. Ondan sonracığıma kurallar önceki seansta konuşulup anlaşılmış, herkes tarafından agreed upon olmuştu. Kimse de konuşmuyor. Sonra devam ediyorsun, aktivitelerini yapıyorsun, bir bakalım falan. Aynı bir tuhaflık var. Ama bu koklayıp böyle sezeceğiniz bir şey. Dile gelmiyor ve tartışılmıyor ya, kimse de söylemiyor. Baktınız kimseden bir şey çıkmıyor, söylüyorsunuz. Bu hafta grupta daha farklı bir şey seziyorum. Bir tedirginlik mi var? İlk hafta çünkü çok hızlı yol alıp birdenbire çok kaynaştığınıza dair gözlemlerim vardı. Ama bu hafta sanki biraz tedirgin ve sanki böyle diken ucunda oturuyormuşsunuz gibi geliyor. Bununla ilgili paylaşmak istediğiniz bir şey var mı diye alan açarım. Kesin birisi dökülür. Çünkü başında yani kesin biri bir şey söyler. Ya da söylemezler. Biraz daha konuşuruz. Kesin söylerler yani çok aşırı dirençli bir grup olmazsa. Aşırı dirençli olursa üzerine gittiniz hiç kimse bir şey söylemiyor, durursunuz. Bir dahaki hafta benzer şeyi hissederseniz yine konuşursunuz. Ama kesin biri bir şey söyler. İşte buradaki hidden ajandayı bulmak lazım. Arka planda bir şey oluyor. Ne olmuş? Danışanlardan, grup üyelerinden biri gazeteciymiş, gitmiş ilk haftaki seans deneyimini hatta birkaç da ismi paylaşarak gazetede köşe yazısına koymuş. Ve herkes bunu okumuş tabii ki. Tamam, hidden agenda bu mesela buradaki örnekte. Okay, self-focus versus focus on others. Mostly, a beginning group has a tendency to talk about others and to focus on people and situations outside of the group because the group is not ready to reveal themselves yet, okay? So the others could be the topic of the talks. Members have a tendency to talk about life situations, but they focus on what other people in their lives are doing to cause them difficulties. Here, leaders' responsibility is to take the attention of the members to examine their reactions to others. Okay, we don't stop them talk about others, but here our goal and ability is to convert these outer experiences into our group members' own experiences and feelings and reactions to those specific outer situations. And here and now focus versus there and then focus. Here and now you already know. Focus refers to what's occurring at the time in the group. And there and then focus refers largely on outside problems that members bring to the session. Both are important in the group counseling process. However, literature indicates that one has to deal with his or her reaction one another in the room in order to be ready to deal with the issues outside. Remember that we had mentioned groups are microcosms of the society, of our outer relationships. Hence, if we can bring those experiences and situations outside of the group, to the here and now, the interventions could be more effective for those members. Okay, and we have another characteristics of this stage: trust versus mistrust, as you can guess. If the basic trust and security is not established in the beginning of the group, serious problems can be predicted. And it is your responsibility to form this basic trust and security. Members are developing trust when members express any feeling without fear, when they have established goals and personal areas to explore, and when they are willing to disclose personal aspects. In order to provide this, what you are going to do in the first sessions is to set the ground rules of group counseling, to mention the group members, as we have mentioned in the previous slides, what they are expected of. And afterwards, you will ask your clients or your group members one by one the reason they have attended to this group. What brought them to the session? What brought them to the therapy? So this will help you encourage your members to determine goals for themselves. So by hearing each other's goals for the therapy even makes the members close to each other, especially if some of them have common similar goals for therapy. And what we do, which skill do we use in order to display those similarities between our clients? We utilize from the linking skill, right? And we paraphrase, we summarize these. In contrast, lack of trust indicates such behaviors like Members indicate hostility and not willing to talk about the feelings openly. They talk overly intellectual, abstract, or vague. They take low levels of risks and they wait for the leader to take initiative, and any disclosure is in superficial level. So early stages are very important to form the trust, and it's basically leader's responsibility. And of course, in the initial stages, you should identify both group goals and individual goals. Examples of group goals include creating a climate of trust and acceptance, promoting self-disclosure, encouraging the taking of risks, and it's important that the goals be explicitly stated, understood, and accepted by the members early in the group. Otherwise, conflict and confusion occur at the later stages. Actually, by revealing our expectations from our members throughout the group counseling process, as we mentioned at the beginning of our presentation, we already lead them to identify these group goals. Okay? But still, the basic responsibility to establish trust is in our hands, but we all also add our clients, the group members, to the process by mentioning our expectations from them. And all those expectations serve the aim of reaching these group goals, okay? And general goals for group members. Of course, the members should decide for themselves the aims of a group experience. But it's based on the aim of the group, type of the group, but followings are some examples of goals for members at individual level. Increasing self-esteem, accepting the reality of one's limitation, reducing behavior, preventing intimacy, learning how to trust oneself, etc. You already can figure out different goals and know that you already know. Individual member goals, of course, will be based on the aim of the group, will be based on why the members are already there. Okay, but of course we are there to help our members define their personal goals as well, because you will hear such words too. I'm here, I have difficulty with assertiveness, but I don't know what I aim. Okay, sometimes they will not be able to define their goals, so you will help them. And for example, members say, I want to get in touch with my feelings. This is a really broad one. This is not a specific goal to be achieved. Leader says, what kind of feelings are you having difficulty with? I want to work on my anger. With whom in your life are you angry? So defining goals is an ongoing process. It's not just one sentence. It's not. And so you should work with your members in terms of personal defining their goals. And group process concepts at the initial stage. Let's go on with this. Okay, group process refers, oops, I'm sorry. Group process refers to the interaction and energy exchange between members and the leader. How the leader reacts to the members and how the members talk to each other and the leader. This is the process. Shortly, attitudes and interaction of group members and leaders. And you will see that each stage of group counseling will be characterized by certain feelings and behaviors. And the initial stage is characterized by the feelings of anxiety, hostility, and sometimes boredom. If things go well, the members will learn to trust each other. And there are some group norms, and they are the shared beliefs about expected behaviors that are aimed at making groups function effectively. And they are formed in early stages in the group. If the group norms are not clear yet, tension will arise over what is appropriate and not appropriate. There are both implicit and explicit norms. Implicit norms may develop because of the members' preconceived ideas, such as members must share everything and there is no place for privacy. And they may develop because of modeling by the leader. If a leader uses abrasive language, members most likely adopt this pattern of speech, even though the leader has never expressly encouraged members to talk in such a manner. So implicit norms do affect the group. They are less likely to have adverse influence if they are made explicit. So you as a leader are responsible for modeling your group members, and also the members will affect each other. Remember that your members will come to the sessions with pre-prepared perceptions, so all will impact their implicit norms and how they are expressed in the group. And the following are the explicit norm examples. Members are expected to attend regularly and show up on time. Members are encouraged to be personal and share meaningful aspects of themselves and become active participants. They are expected to give feedback one to another. They should focus on feelings and express them rather than talking about problems in a detached and intellectual manner. Encouraged to focus on here and now interactions within the group. They are expected to bring into the group personal problems and concerns that are willing to discuss. So we explicitly declare these, okay? We mention these. So as a result, the vagueness or unclear statements will be prevented, and the client group members will come to a point that they know what is expected of them, what is expected from the group, so they know how they should behave, and they already know and learn what they will do throughout this group process. Okay, group cohesion is a sense of togetherness within a group. During the early stage of a group, there is no cohesion, okay? So members don't know each other, so there is no togetherness. So you should give some time to form group cohesion, but also you should be skilled enough to set the basis for this group cohesion. Genuine cohesiveness comes after groups have struggled with conflicts, after they share pain and have committed themselves to taking significant risks. Şimdi ilk aşamalarda tabii birbirlerini tanımadıkları için ne güven var ne birliktelik var. Ama ne zaman ki öyküleri birbirine dokunmaya başlar, ne zaman ki birbirlerinin acılarını görmeye başlarlar, birbirlerinin acılarında birbirlerini bulmaya başlarlar, ne zaman birbirleriyle çatışırlar, birbirlerine öfkelenirler, lider sorumluluğunda, birbirlerine kızgınlıkların aslında hayatlarındaki başka önemli insanlardan olan yansımalar olduğunu fark ederler, grup sonra bütünleşmeye başlar. Birbirimizin hikayesinde birbirimizi görmeye başladıkça artık bir olmaya başlarız. Bunun için de zaman gerekir. But of course you will take the first steps at the beginning in the initial sessions. If you want to know as a leader if there is any degree of cohesion in your group, check for these. First, is there any cooperation among the members? Are the members willing to come for the meetings, and if they are punctual or not? Are they being on time or are they getting late? Is there an effort to make the group a safe place, including talking about any feelings of lack of trust or fears of trusting? And what about the support and caring as evidenced by being willing to listen to others and accept them as they are, and the willingness to express reactions to and perceptions of others in the here and now context? Okay, these are the indicators of initial levels of cohesion. Building cohesion is an ongoing process. It can be developed, maintained, and increased in a number of ways. Some are described below. They may be maintained by building trust, by sharing meaningful aspects, and by determining group and individual goals. I had said it previously. And also by inviting all the members become active participants, by sharing leadership role with the members of the group, and by dealing openly with conflicts will also contribute to developing cohesion in the group. Okay, and what about group leader issues at the initial stage? First one is division of responsibility. This is how to achieve a balance of sharing responsibility with members. All of them should act oops, I wasn't able to talk. All of them are accepted to participate actively, right? And sometimes in the group sharing ideas, feelings also be divided among them. So every member has a responsibility for carrying the group forward and to reach group goals. So group leader has the responsibility to divide roles and responsibilities with members. And the degree of structuring, we are responsible for creating a structure that will enable members to make maximum use of group process. You already know it. It's also an ethical responsibility. And opening group sessions is an important point. You should be energetic, remember the skills that we have. We should be authentic, and sometimes adding activities and icebreakers work very much to open group sessions. And for closing the group sessions, actually you should summarize well enough. And if you are working with a theoretical approach which gives homeworks, assignments, you should declare them. Or you should also involve your members' feelings on the closure of the session. You may ask them, how do you live today? What do you take with yourself today out of as a result as the end of our session? Type of closure may work effectively. Okay, so far for the initial stage. If you have any questions, please write below. You are not responsible for adding any comments, etc. under this video. But if you have any questions, you can write in the comments part so I can answer you and all of you can see the answer. That's all. See you next week.